In past years, we saw that a chance meeting on an airplane, using the opportunity of a business deal, or even just a Shabbos invitation can change a person's life forever and bring them closer to Yiddishkeit. Could there be an even simpler story? The answer is yes. This year we get to meet David Weiss, a balabas who lives in Monsey and worked in Queens, but had never done kiruv in his entire life. We also get to meet Felix Groman, a fellow from Jackson Heights, Queens, who was just searching for any connection possible to Hashem. Their story will show us how simple it really was. But how unique is their story? And how relevant is it to ourselves, to our communities, and to our own shuls? In today's film, we find the answers to these questions. The Gemara in Shabbos tells us, B'shah shemachnisim es ha'adam ledin, shayel en oisai, tzipisa liyeshua. At the time when we have to answer to our Creator, we'll be asked several questions, including tzipisa liyeshua. Did you really long for the salvation? Were you really interested in bringing Mashiach? On Tisha B'Av, that question is especially poignant. On Tisha B'Av, we asked ourselves that question. What are we doing to bring the Geula? As we know, the Churban took place because of sinas chinam. And as we know and tell you every year, the antidote to sinas chinam is avas chinam. And what greater avas chinam can there be than reaching out to your fellow man? And so on Tisha B'Av, we bring you another film, hoping that you'll take it to heart, hoping that you'll learn something today, and that you'll actually apply it to your daily lives. Every year we have the schus of hearing from a Rav who is dedicated to Avas Yisrael and Kiruv Rechaikim. And this year is no different. We have a very special privilege to hear from Rabbi Eitan Feiner, the Rav of the White Shul in Far Rockaway, was also a former Talmud of Rav Noach Weinberg and a Rebbe in Esha Torah, who will talk to us about the importance of how we can put the lessons we learned today into our everyday practice.
So here we are, yet another Tisha B'Av Shnas Tavshin Ayin Hey. And once again, we turn to that very well-known Gemara, Maseches Yuma, Daf Tes Amud Beis, where the Gemara relates why the destruction of Bayis Sheni, why the Churban HaBayis, the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara says, Hayu asukim b'Torah b'mitzvahs gemilas chasodim. Why was it the Nechrov? To which the Gemara responds, because of sinas chinam, because of baseless hatred. How do we rectify it? The Yerushalmi tells us in Maseches Yuma, and that kol dor, every single generation, the Beis HaMikdash wasn't built. And your generation, kilo nechra b'yamav, it's as if we destroyed it, chalila v'chas, with our yadayim. How do we rectify this? How do we show the Ribbona Shel Olam that our inner tshuka, that we have an insatiable desire to want to rebuild that Beis HaMikdash speedily in our days from Herav Yameinu? How do we illustrate that? One basic way we can start is, let's follow the lead of that example of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the Gadol Hador, about whom the Gemara relates in Maseches Sukkot, Chal Ches and Aleph, every single piece of Torah he knew on his fingertips, ice cold. Medrash, Mishnah, Gemara, Talmud, you name it, he knew it. And that same Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And the Gemara tells us In Maseches Brachos, Daf Yud Zayin, Amud Aleph, Amru Olav of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Shelo Hagdimo Adam Shebeshuk Me'olam. Nobody ever proceeded in greeting him with the Shalom Aleichem, with the Good Morgen, with the Good Morning, with the Boker Tov. Afilu Nochri Shebeshuk. Everybody, even a non-Jew, he always initiated that greeting, that response, that welcome, and that Baruch Hama, that Shalom Aleichem. Ramasi ben Chorish. Let's go to Pirkei Avos, Perek Daled, Mishnah Tezvav, and Ramasi ben Chorish, who the Medrash Afkir in the Alkut Shimoni and Vayechi informs us as someone he basically never looked outside of his Daled Amos, and still, Ramasi ben Chorish is that illustrious Tana who starts out one of his few succinct statements. And by telling us, "Have you maktim Shlom hakol adam," you should go ahead and initiate the greeting with somebody else. You see someone walking in the street, you're in shul, and somebody's sitting alongside you, perhaps not in your Daled Amos. Still, you see someone from a distance. Ramasi ben Chorosh, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, go out and greet that person. Give him a Shalom Aleichem, give her a Baruch Haba, welcome, an invitation, or even a smile. This Tisha B'Av, be machlet decide in your hearts, and your leiv and nefesh once and for all. I no more sinas. I want to love every single Jew. I want to warmly welcome, and with an all-embracing and enveloping Ava, Panimis, for every single Jew, so that once and for all Mashiach Tzidkenu could come and bring us to a Geula Shalema and a binyan by a Shlishi. This Tisha B'Av should indeed be our last. Let's turn it Me'eva L'Yontav Miyogel L'Simcha into the greatest moed of them all, so that in Emet Hashem we can dance together with every single Jew and sing together in the Ribbona Shalom's house in the Binyan Maya Shlishi, B'meira v'yameinu, Amen v'yamein.
Felix Groman was born in Kishinev, Moldova. His mother, tragically, died in an accident when he was very young, and he was basically raised by his grandparents in Jackson Heights, Queens. So you went to public school,
yes,
high school?
Yes.
And kind of drifted away from...
No, for 2 years I went to high school, and then I went straight to college. I started college at Veronilix when I was 16 and moved along, studying at other schools as well.
Mm-hmm. What was your connection to Judaism then?
None.
There was no Jewish observance in your life at all?
No.
Nothing kosher?
Besides going to shul on the Shabbat, on Erev Shabbos and Shabbos, I used to go to synagogue.
You went anyway,
with my
even
grandfather.
Then? Even then?
Yeah, my grandfather, my grandmother, we went to shul. But when, services were over, it's back to television at home, watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No other connection at all?
No.
My job required me to be at work on Sundays. So, when I first started commuting from Muncie to Queens, someone had told me about this minyan in Jackson Heights, Young Israel of Jackson Heights, that needed help with their minyan. It was a dying minyan and not too much of a community out in Jackson Heights. So I went there and I started davening there every Sunday morning, and I davened there for about 7 years. One morning something happened. It's interesting, this was the first time I went to the Project Inspire convention was about a few months before this event happened. So I remember my wife and I, we went because we heard very nice things about it, and plus I was just starting to get involved a little bit, and our expectations were it was going to just be a nice Shabbos, get away and hear some nice, nice speeches. There was a video about a Israeli actor that was Mikarev through this family in Borough Park, and he was
Effie Bibi.
Right, Effie Bibi. And he was on the airplane, and the wife approached him, and they started talking, and then before you know it, he's a Ben Bias at their house. And I think the most amazing part of the night was when you introduced him. He actually was there, and he came up. And my wife and I were just like, wow. I mean, we were in tears. I mean, it was just an amazing... and he was in tears. I remember Effie was in tears,
and I was in tears.
Yeah, I mean it was an amazing. There wasn't a dry eye in that room, absolutely, and it made an impact on me. I remember that was an impact, and I left that Shabbos saying to myself, wow, what if I would have that opportunity to do? That would be amazing. And once you know it, I had that opportunity, and I was
So tell us about that opportunity.
tremendous chus, like you said. So one Sunday morning, regular Sunday morning, I was davening, and in walks in this very young man.
So it's a couple of years ago, and you're begin to search in shuls. You've been to go to various different shuls,
Yes.
looking for anything, something that will spark you. And what happens when you go into the shul?
I knew I needed to speak to somebody. I needed somebody to hear me out and tell me something. It doesn't matter what it really is, but just spend some time. And that was very difficult, apparently. And it strengthened my flawed belief that, my people just don't care about me, and I'm just once again feeling abandoned. You go to a synagogue, you try to open up sefer, you start davening.
So you would go into shul waiting for someone to approach you?
Yeah. Yes.
But it didn't happen.
I felt like, of all the places to seek sanctity and salvation, a shul would have been the place to go do that.
I think we need to stop right here. There I am, sitting with Chaim. He's telling me he's walking into one shul after the other. He's searching. And it gets me thinking, what would I do if I'm in shul and I see Chaim, who's Felix then, and I wonder, would I go over to him? What would I do? What would you do? What would any of us do? Well, we don't know. We can't go back in time. We can't go into that shul, meet Felix, and find out what we would have done. So, we did the next best thing. Meet Abe. We asked Abe if he would go into a shul in a heavy populated frum area in order to answer my question, what would happen? And so he did. And with the permission of a chashva and courageous young Rav, we embarked upon our mission. With constant minyanim around the clock, we wondered as Abe stands alone, does anybody care? Will anyone approach him? Does anyone even notice that he's there? Will anyone even remember that Abe was standing right next to them?
I knew what to film in shul this morning. I was davening in the corner. It pains me to see that not one individual approached this person throughout the entire davening. The 830 minyan is a large minyan. Baruch Hashem, it has all stripes and all colors. Everyone is there. Not one of us went over to him to ask this person that was obviously very not part of our circles, hi, can I help you? This is a very startling wake-up call. It's unfortunately, we don't realize how self-centered we are.
From minyan to minyan to minyan. Nothing really changed. I wonder what Abe was thinking. I wonder what Abe was feeling. I wonder what Felix was feeling when this was happening to him.
I almost wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked. I almost expected what I had the first few tries. But I was persistent. I mean,
Easily could have walked out and
Yeah.
said, this is just not working.
yes, but
Tried another shul, and then another shul.
And he just sat down in the chair and took out a art scroll sitter and just started reading and looking at it. And I kept on saying to myself, should I approach him? Should I approach him? And I just didn't know. I didn't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. And I just the thoughts just kept on going. Just what should I do? Should I go? Should I go? And I remember during Chazar Sashatz, I said, you know what? Just do it. Just go. And it's like I had to build up courage to do it.
Right.
You know, it was weird because, like, you know, I just didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So I walked over to him, and the first thing I said to him was, "Hi, you want to put on a pair of tefillin?"
Just like that.
Just like that. It was the first thing that came out of my mouth.
Were
Hi.
you a little
I was a
tremble?
little nervous. A little nervous, yeah. A little nervous.
you know, a guy named David, he introduces himself and he said, "Hey, would you like to wear my tefillin?" I was shocked. I was really shocked because I was not expecting that at all. I knew that tefillin is something that you wear personally, and it's kind of like taking the shirt off your back literally and putting it on somebody else. That went beyond what I would have even hoped for. I was at least hoping for somebody to strike up a conversation with me and lend me their ear, but he put his tefillin on me. That was amazing.
And he looked at me and he said, "Dude, I got tattoos all over my body." So I said, "Who cares?" So he looked at me like, "Okay." So he rolled up his sleeves. I started taking off my tefillin, and I noticed his whole arm was it was like a Spider-Man. It was like a spider web. And I was like, okay, they're tattoos. So I said, okay. So we started putting on the tefillin. He said the bracha with me of putting on the tefillin. He repeated each word. And you can tell he was emotional. He was definitely emotional about it. When I started putting on tefillin on Chaim, it was as if the whole minyan stopped. And they were just like, you can feel the atmosphere that it was intense. It was pretty intense of watching me put on the tefillin for that first time, and overcame it, and I approached him, and it's one of the best things I ever did. When we finished davening and I took off the tefillin, and we talked for just a couple minutes, and I said goodbye to him, and he said goodbye to me, and that was really the end of that moment. As it was happening, when I first approached Chaim, I didn't think of, wow, this is my opportunity, this is what Project Inspire is all about, let's do this, you know? Right. I didn't think about that at all. I remember putting my tefillin in the car, and then I said, what am I doing? I gotta go back. This is my opportunity, I gotta go back. And I went back, and I said, where do you live? Do you live in the area? He goes, yeah, I live not too far. I said, well, can I give you a ride home?
From that point on, I knew that, wow, this is a guy I could communicate with. Because he wasn't afraid to cross that boundary. He took one step forward, and Hashem took care of the rest.
So you knew right away that this was different?
Yes.
Really?
I felt like this was an angel I was waiting for 20 years. Somebody to listen to me and to tell me that it's not what you thought it was. He showed me another side of Judaism that I would have only, wished to have heard, but finally I got to see it for myself.
Did you have any idea when that happened that was the first time that David Weiss had ever done anything like that?
I had no idea. I thought he did that monthly basis. I thought maybe because he was pretty good at it.
Right? He came in like a pro.
He knew what to say. He knew what not to say. He really knew it. He seemed like he knew what he was doing.
So,
of course, he knew a lot more than I did about Judaism.
Right.
So I let him speak when he wanted to speak, but most of the speaking was done by me.
We made up to go out. I tried my best just to listen and just be a friend to him. Every week there'd be a different theme. Like one day he would say, okay, I want to, like he would tell me, I want to wear tzitzits. So we had like this weekly like field trip. There was a Judaica store in Queens.
He got me a book on Chafetz Chaim, a lesson a day, and I read it through from cover to cover. It was an amazing book, and from that point I wanted to learn the Torah.
Basically almost every Sunday we would go there and we'd buy a pair of tzitzits, or he would want to buy a Tanakh, or he would want to buy a Chumash, and not because I would say, hey, why don't you go buy a Chumash, maybe you should get into Chumash. He would say, hey, I read the portion and I want to read, like, you can see he was thirsty to want to learn more.
Tell us about the time that you eventually did get your own tefillin.
I knew they were expensive, and I didn't have anything close to the money needed to buy myself a pair, and so I felt, well, I can't keep, I felt bad having David offer his tefillin to me for me to wear every Sunday morning, because what's he going to wear during davening? And when he got me a pair of tefillin, that really sealed the deal, whereas all my fears, my people abandoning me, gone. That right away, it was gone, because that was an investment that somebody made on me. I felt like he barely knew me to, make that kind of commitment, but he did. I couldn't believe it. I really felt like I knew a lot about television and a lot about stuff I really didn't need to know, but all the really important things I knew nothing of. And this guy was a wealth of information to me. I got a chance to pick his brain for however many hours he would spend with me. And that's what I got to do. And
Many people who walk into a shul who are not connected at all, but they walk into the shul, would you say that they are searching?
most definitely. Most definitely.
And then at some point you realize that he needs somebody local.
Yes. I always felt like it shouldn't only be about me, especially since I'm only seeing him once a week. Thank God, I was very lucky that, Project Inspire was there to help me hook him up with other people so that he can continue his journey. As he developed, he was ready for the next person, so to say, to help him along with this journey.
So how long have you been learning together?
Probably a little bit over 2 years, I would guess.
Oh, right, really?
Yeah.
Is
I
it-
don't know the time. I'm not aware of the time. It just flies, really. So
What do you learn together?
we learned Parsha on Motzei Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
He's been my family. He really is, a Ben Bagus, and he obviously has an open invitation for any Shabbos.
Uh-huh.
I think one of the things that makes it, successful is that we don't always agree on everything. And we have, I wouldn't call it debates, but, we have a good back and forth. And it lends, it gives me a new perspective on different topics and different things.
It wasn't just now me and David. Now I got another person's perspective on things as well. And that was also important. That, once I hear another person speak and I could see the similarities and I could see that, okay, this is not just some subjective information. This is objective right here.
Right.
And this is how I knew what was really truth and what was not.
Right.
Once I started speaking to David and then to Peretz.
I hope I, give him a different perspective on certain things, and I learn a lot from him. There's a lot that I've learned from him that I really gained from the Charusa.
So you never know. Yeah, you really never know who's waiting for you to approach them. And so it's only taking one step forward, and Hashem does the rest. And through Project Inspire, I also met many of other people who have led me to study at Yeshiva at Madrigas Adam. And I studied there for 8 months until I started working.
How close were you to not going over to him?
Very close. Very close.
So are you surprised to know that he came this close to not even saying hello to you?
Yeah, I am surprised because I'm trying to imagine what things would have been like today had he not done that. All the people I would have not have met.
Yeah. So if people are watching this and they're saying, you know, I have that every now and then, I have that experience, I have that opportunity, I just can't do it. I just can't go over to that person. And what would you say if they asked you for help and they said, you know, I can't do it. Tell me what to do. What would you say to them?
I would say just do it. It's obvious that they're there for the first time and something brought them there. Just do it. Just go over to that person and make that connection somehow and see where it goes from there.
But maybe they'll be upset with me. Maybe they'll say, this is none of your business.
Right? Those were the struggles I had when I was thinking if I should go. That was the struggle, and I'm very fortunate and lucky that I made that move.
So is he.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's actually what I personally was waiting to have done. You never know who that quiet person, that new person in shul may be, and what they're hoping to have when they come to shul. But it starts with that first, that first hello.
Can you believe David Weiss? Not only that he approached him, but he had left the shul. Now, he's standing at his car and he's thinking, wait a minute. This is my opportunity. This is my chance. This is what I've been waiting for. Because this is what Chaim has been waiting for. And he turned around and walked back in and began the relationship. And I wondered, what would we do? What's going to happen with Abe? Will anyone go that extra yard? Will anyone really try and say, I care enough? I thought maybe Mincha would be different. But it wasn't. I wasn't only thinking about Abe or about Chaim. I wanted to get into the minds of the people who were there with Abe. Because they were davening with him. Surely they must have noticed him. Surely they must have thought, struggled. Do I approach him? Do I say something? I had to find out. And some of these brave people agreed to share their thoughts, their feelings, their comments, their experience about what happened while they were standing there with Abe. Let's listen. Do you recognize this fellow?
Yes. He
You
was
do
actually
recognize him.
sitting right in front of me.
He was sitting in front of
the
you?
table in front of me, yeah. He was saying
Uh-huh.
Kaddish for somebody.
Did you have any thought about maybe you wanted to approach him or not? Or
I was thinking about it. It looked like a person that perhaps I should have approached.
Tir v'chaikim, is that something that's important? Do you think people should be doing that?
Very important.
Very important,
Yes.
okay. Personally also, is something that you were involved in at all?
I've been involved for many years.
Really?
Yes. People.
Good. I want to show you something similar. What you think? Do you recognize this fellow?
I just saw him in the show.
You just saw him now.
I just saw him, but I didn't really stare at him. I noticed
Right.
just the yarmulke. I didn't
Right. So you do recognize him. Did you have any thought that maybe you should approach him or say hello or anything?
It didn't cross my mind. I came in. I'm going to work, so that's why it didn't click. But if he was next to me, I probably would have. I would strike up some conversation.
Do you know this fellow? Have you seen this fellow before?
Yes,
Where did you see him?
I saw him in Shul.
In Shul. And where you were sitting, I think, right behind him.
Could be.
Right, something like that. So, did you have a thought that maybe you should approach him?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Did you see other people? Anybody? Did anybody approach him?
I'll tell you the truth. I came to Shul, I davened, and I was going to approach him. I just didn't get a chance.
What is wrong? Why don't we do that? Why don't we go up there and say hi?
That's a very good question.
It's a troubling question, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It looks like he could use a hello, right?
Sure. See, now I got the opportunity.
That's right.
How you
That's
doing?
right. I'm well. And you?
Good.
This is Abe. You know this fellow? Have you ever
I
seen
just saw him in
this?
Shul today.
Today?
Yeah.
When? How long ago?
He's there now, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
What does he look like to you?
I can't figure it out. I did not see his face, but he looks like a person that's looking.
Looking.
Yeah.
Did you have a thought that maybe you should approach him or something? Did it cross your mind?
That's a good question. I did not know. Maybe should have, but I didn't know.
While many people struggled with what they would have said or could have said or should have said, there were a lot of people who didn't even notice that Abe was practically standing right next to them. Do you recognize this fellow?
I recognize him. No. It's not so clear either, but besides that, I don't think so.
Would it surprise you if I told you that he was standing about 3 feet away from you about 2 minutes ago at Mincha? He's still there now. We could go back and look if you like.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
Does it look the same?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You didn't notice him?
No.
Do you think if you had noticed him that you would have, type of person you would have gone over to?
Probably not.
Recognize this fellow?
I don't have my reading glasses on, so I don't know. Who is it?
You wouldn't know him, but he was standing about 6 feet away from you about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, really? Didn't ring a bell. Didn't notice anything. Huh?
No. He's there now, as a matter of fact. He's still there.
Interesting.
He's still there. He was davening about 6 feet away from you about 3 minutes ago.
Oh, he was? I did not notice. And he was to the left of me?
Right in front of you.
Right in front of me. No, I didn't notice. I'll be honest, I didn't notice.
What does he look like? Looks like he could use some help?
It looks like he probably could use he could use a good morning. Yeah, you could, yes, yeah, I would say so, yeah.
But all is not lost. Yisrael Kedoshim Haim. There were those who did care, and did offer, and did try. Some offered a sitter, some offered to explain parts of davening. There were those that offered tefillin. And as a matter of fact, we even got the opportunity to catch up with one of those right after davening. People like Abe walk into shul and nobody comes up to them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he pretty obviously stands out,
Mm-hmm.
and we all should be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But the hero of today is you. Now, you were right there early in the morning, and we were watching you,
Yeah.
and we've been here all day since 7 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody put out that effort like you did.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Nobody. And I was watching, I was like, I was amazed. And you didn't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. There was really no thought process behind it.
It's instinctive.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously one major part of Judaism is, serving God, but, that's equally important is to help other people.
Right.
They're contingent on one on the other.
Right.
So
one thing I was commenting on was that you really got into specifics to make it so that I could metaphorically learn how to fish. You were really taking me through the steps in a great way.
I'm in Kailo.
Are you in Kailo?
Yeah.
But you're natural.
Yeah. I've had all the exposure from A to Z, so I kind of been there, done that, so I know what it feels like. I know what it like, to go in as shul and have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And, you're the only guy that sticks out like a sore thumb, so it's very awkward. And
Wow.
so I've been.
So you were Abe at one time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did anybody approach you in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that helpful, you think?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. They're all. Yeah. Of course it is.
A little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Everything adds up.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem.
The truth is that all of these wonderful people set a very good example for all of us. They tried. They did something. But if you think about it, if David Weiss would have stopped there, if he just would have given him a siddur or a pair of tefillin, if he had not gone back inside, Chaim would still be Felix today. The difference is that David Weiss really, really cared. That is true Ahavas Yisrael. It's great. Somebody walks into a shul, say hello, shake his hand, give him a pair of tefillin, siddur. That's more than most of us do. But if you really want to make that connection, if you really care, you won't stop there. You'll continue. You'll say, what can I do for you? You'll say, are you new to the neighborhood? Do you need directions? Do you need a car ride? Do you need lunch? Do you want to learn? Do you want to talk? What's troubling you? Show that there's concern. Show that there's Ahavas Yisrael. When you do that, that's how you create neshamas. That is the answer to the gullus. That is the answer to all of the sorrow of Tisha B'Av. It's in here, and we can do it.
We have to, I guess that me, myself as well, we all have to take a deep look into ourselves and ask ourselves, what else is out there besides ourselves?
Now, I know what you're thinking. I know because I've had many similar thoughts. This is not my shul. My shul is different. Or, people are busy. We don't have time. Or, I don't really see any Abes in my shul. I don't see Felix, I don't see Abe. I don't get these opportunities. And if I did, maybe I'd be different. Or, what do you expect me to say? I'm not a professional. I really don't know how to approach people. I'm shy. I'm reticent. I'm quiet. There are all kinds of reasons, a whole list of things that we could have and should have done and why this film doesn't really talk to me. But if you really want to dig deep, and if you really want to be honest with yourself, you'll say, maybe I'd be different, but most of us are not. We're timid. We're not caring enough. There, I said it. If we cared more, I think we'd do more. That's hard to disagree with. And I know, a lot of us do care. And we don't have so many opportunities. We don't see the people in shul. Perhaps you're a woman, you don't go to shul that often. You don't have the Abe or whoever it may be to speak with. But there are plenty of other opportunities. In the stores that you go to, in the streets that you walk, in the trains that you ride, wherever you go, people are looking They're searching, and they want to be approached. That's our challenge. That's our purpose. Project Inspire has so many opportunities for you. You can learn with someone. You can learn with someone on any level. You can learn on the phone. It has changed so many lives. Just volunteer. Speak to someone who's done it. They'll tell you it's fabulous. And the Shabbos project is coming up, Parshas Lech Lecha. Commit yourself now to say, I'm going to do something, inviting a guest, going to a challah bake, bringing someone with you. Who doesn't like a fresh challah? The point is, of course, again, if you care, you'll do something. And if you want to do something, there's something to do. No excuses, no reasons, just do it. And in the schus of all our efforts to bring back all of Klal Yisrael, may we be zeiche to see the binyan bayis shlishi b'mheira v'yameinu. Amen.
Oy 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 veyal yo yivad Yisruel Oy merim shema Yisruel Oy 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 veyal yo yivad Yisruel Oy merim shema Yisruel